Okay, so now we have our product details page ready. And now for our product page, so if you are developing like a e-commerce site, right? So whenever a user search with this product, let's say there is a t-shirt, right? So the user wants to buy a t-shirt, let's say a drop shoulder t-shirt. So whenever the user searches for a drop shoulder t-shirt, we want to make our SEO optimization so that the user can come to our product, so that our this product page comes up in our Google search results. So to do that, we have to make this page SEO optimized as much as possible. So to do that, we have to render everything in the server. That means we have to do either static site generation or server side rendering. We can also do incremental static generation, I think. So for this, I want to render everything whenever the user comes to this route, right? So for that, whenever I come to this route, I want to build everything in the server again. That means I want to, with each request, I want to build everything again. So the user gets an updated data. Whenever the user reloads, they get an updated data. So to do that, we have to implement the Next.js's server-side rendering. So how can you do that? So let's go back to our UI again and let's see. Okay, I'm going to close all of this. Okay, so we are using our Slack.js, right? So let's actually go back to Next.js documentation and let's see how they are recommending you to do it. So server-side rendering Next.js. Okay, so this is their official documentation. So we are using the pages router. If you are using the app router, you can click on here. So yeah, so here it says that in the same file, right? So this is the function, this is the page, and in the file size you have to write another function that is this gets called on every request, right? So whenever you are reloading the page or whenever the user coming to the page for the first time, this function will be called, or this request will be made with each component. So for this to work, let me enlarge the browser too. So for this to work, the naming has to be the same. So you have to follow the naming convention. You cannot name it anything else. That way it won't work. And you have to export it from the same component or the same page where you want to implement the server-side rendering, right? So whichever page is reloading, the main page, that's where you have to call this function. So for that, let's take this function actually. Okay. Okay. So after our default export, right? So this is our product details page, the main page we are rendering. So after that, we want to call this function, right? So let's say export const get server side props. Make sure you write the name, whatever they are suggesting in the documentation. If you write something else, it won't work. And server side props, it should be a async function, right? Async function, because you are doing asynchronous functionalities, and then just give it a simple arrow function. And now what we can do is we have to get the API, right? The where we're getting the products. So if we go to Swagger and come to products, so where is it? This is the product ID. So let's get this one, product slash product ID, right? Okay. So what we can do is we can say const response just to await, and then we can say Axios dot. We have to get the like the base route. Base route we can get it from env file. Okay, this is our env file. Axios dot get, and we have to take a template string because we want to make it dynamic, not like that. Okay. we have to say process.env dot then slash product then the product ID. So how do we get the product ID, right? So our product ID is coming from the route dynamically, right? This is the dynamically. So if you want to get anything like the params or the query or whatever the route or dynamic anything, so you can actually get it in the params here, like the get server side props. It also provides you a params that is called context. So we can just say ctx for short context. So inside that context, you will have access to all the params and queries and everything. So now I can just say product to access the Slack. That means the Slack we declared here. This is our Slack.js. So our ID will come to us with the name Slack. So whatever you to name it here, if you name it id.js, make sure you are using ID. If you're using product ID here, you should write product ID. So to access that, I will first context dot query query, and if there is a query, we are naming it Slack, right? Okay, so we'll get this Slack from our dynamic route, and then we can say is first of all, let's console log the response, right? Response dot data, and let's wrap it up in a try catch block so that we can handle our errors better. And then we want to catch all the errors, and we can console log the error too. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's open our console again. Okay, let's see. Let's reload the page. Oh, I think we have to return something. So you cannot just leave it like that. You have to return something, but we actually got the data. See here, product. This is our product, single product. We got from our data. Actually, I'm going to copy this product from here, so we can see how the data structure is built. How do I close it? Okay. So I'm going to get the data, categories data. Okay. Let's copy it somewhere. JSON reader, let's say. Okay, let's go to code share actually. Okay, so this is our product, right? So we'll come back later and explore the data structure. Okay, let's go back to our code and let's check where we are running the server. So if you see here, where we are running the server, actually getting the console log here, right? So that means this data is already coming from the server. So this is already uh, data is already being fetched in the server, and then the server is actually sending us the data. So all of this is happening in the server, right? Okay. So now if we want to return the data, so we got the data, but how do we get this data inside our product details? So to do that, we have to return the data. So how do we return the data? We return it inside an object, then make sure it is a props object. So if you name it anything, Next.js will give you an error. So make sure you're returning a props object. Then inside the props object, you can name anything. Let's say we're returning it as product, right? So we can say product, and we can say response dot data dot product. Okay. What are we storing here? Product. Yes. Okay, fine. So this is our response dot data dot product, right? So make sure you return it as props. Okay. All right. Now, how do we get this prop? So with this, we get this prop like any other prop. Like normally we send prop to our components. We get it the same way, but make sure you write the name correct. So we are returning it as product. So we'll receive product here. Okay. And then let's, instead of doing the console log here, let's do the console log here. Product. Now let's see what happens. Okay. Now we are seeing it in the client side, our product. So this server side props is actually rendering or this function is actually being called in the server. Then when we get the data, we can get this data as props to our client side component, that is our product details. Okay. Okay, now let's go back and check again. Okay, see, this is our data. We have our attributes, our categories, our discounts, and everything. Okay, so this is our actual data, right? Okay, let's go back to network and let's fetch the API again. So if you see here, you can see that our get category API is being called, right? Where we are getting all the categories. So, but our product details page is not being called, but we are getting the products and everything, right? So if we go to network again and reload again, see, we are not getting any network calls for our product page. So this is not because it is not happening in your browser, in your network tag. The API call is happening in the server and you get the data from the server. So that's why you cannot just access it from the APIs from a browser. So it is actually more secure for your API. Okay. All right.